Okay, it's 5:03. We'll call the meeting to order with roll call. Dave. Here. Robert. Yeah. Brent. Here. Carol, I don't see. John. You. Norm, I'm present. Bill. Present. Christine, I don't see. Todd. Here. Tracy, I don't see. And I know we have, Mr. Goodall sitting here, so we might as well. You're present, obviously. Yeah. Okay. First thing we got is a appointment. So we want to vote on that, do we, Tim?
Yeah, so the way the committee is structured, the LIPOA and village members appoint the 3 at-large members. So the way to do it would be someone from the association make the motion, or someone from the village and someone from the other group second the motion. And
Bill, did you say you had a?
Yeah, I make a motion to reappoint Todd Buchanan and Tracy Nelson.
Okay.
2-year term, Patrick Woodall for a 1-year term.
I second.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Welcome aboard.
Thanks.
You think?
Yeah. Indulge.
Okay, so we need approval of the minutes. Second.
Yep.
Dave and John. Okay, how about the financial report?
let's see, So in your package, you have the ledger for the project, going back to first dollars that we put in, which was our remaining ARPA money. After paying for the Birch Park project and our interest earned, at the end of March, we should be sitting at $146,668.49. We received our settlement from the county end of last week. So the way that works is we have to turn over our delinquent property taxes to the county on March 1st. So any unpaid property tax bills at that point in time get bought by the county, who then becomes a collecting entity on it. They buy that debt, the original amount, not the interest. So that was 18 grand that came in. We had another 1,700 come in from people paying their property taxes in February. And then you don't show it here, but our Mercantile Bank interest payment for February was $429 and change. So add that in, we actually be about 147,000, I guess. That is all of the revenue that we anticipate besides interest income between now and the beginning of tax collection in July. So there's no other outstanding funds that are going to come in from property taxes or anything like that. We've settled out all those accounts.
Okay, so we got to work with until July.
At least July, yep.
Make a motion to accept the treasury report.
Okay, second.
Bob.
No. When I go through the minutes, those I know we've already touched on them, but. Down there, number 3, South Park and Car, as an item. That Birdie should also be in there too. Because of the way they want me to structure the permits now, and that'd be all the east side of the lake. And
That's just to keep Eagle happy with all the permits.
Yes,
Lump them together.
yeah, so it'd be South Park, Park and Birdie, we just do that side at once.
Okay. Noted. The next item on our agenda is comments from the public. Do we have anybody here that wants to say anything? Anything from online, Tim?
I do not see any comments in the chat.
Okay, so we have no public comments. Which brings us to review The only bid we got, which was from Seven Lake Services.
We got this from the end of February, Jim, 21st, right?
Last Friday, wasn't it, 2 Fridays ago?
28th. So bids were due 4 PM on 2/28.
And they sent this and those, said it looks like the 21st.
That's when they dated their letter, yeah.
Ah.
I think we received their package on like the 25th, maybe,
Okay.
but it was a sealed proposal, so we didn't open proposals till the 28th.
Right.
Yeah, those are-
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't receive any other questions from other contractors?
The questions that we received were all, can we do this mechanically?
Yeah.
We had, I think, probably 3 reach out about that.
Well, actually, one submitted it and they wanted. It sounded to me like they wanted to put it on a boat or something with a backhoe on a boat or. And you know, that's really not gonna work. Do it mechanical with the boat.
Yeah, when it's in it, it just float downstream every time you took the scoop. I have it would be lost and it's filtered down and settled somewhere else.
Time frames they have involved with start, finish and prep work and all that.
What's one of your questions on that?
Well. Have we firmed up where this catch basin's gonna go and
I know that Tim has talked to Lucky, and I think George has too. And Lucky had a couple of questions which Chad has emailed to us regarding the location of the retention pond. And I know the guy had returned his answers, but I don't know that Lucky's had a chance to review those.
Well, we printed them off for Lucky, including the photos. He came by and picked them up yesterday and have not heard back from him.
Okay.
So,
So
we're not in negotiation, in other words.
I think it's all doable, but I mean, obviously until we have him signing off on it. That would change, could potentially change where the spoils are gonna go.
Well, if with everything dangling, we don't have any time frames for anything at this point then.
I think whatever we decide to do or approve, we're gonna have to send something back to Satin Lake and have them work through it with us. I mean, it's, and Tim had questions about the, you know, the timelines and the deposits and, you know, payment schedules and with our budget. So there was 2 or 3 options that Tim had kind of printed out for us to go over. You guys read through those at all?
Go through them and summarize them real quick.
Yeah.
All right. Option 1, simplest of them all, accept the bid as submitted. I don't think legally we can do that. Option 2 would be to send Savin a counter proposal. Specifically, the reason why we can't is he's requested $100,000 non-refundable deposit. As a public entity, when we expend funds, we have to do so for a public purpose and have a public impact for the expenditure. So in the event that work would be unperformed from that deposit, we're out $100,000 without public purpose, is really what that comes down to. We could,
If he submits a performance and payment bond, is that,
he has to legally. Legally, he's required to submit a performance bond of at least 25% of the project.
we can ask for 100% of the project if we want.
We can ask for that. We put it in the RFP that you're gonna have to submit at least a 25%. That was notice number 2 on the notices, and that's state law. Any public works project over 50,000, you have to have a performance bond and at least 25% of the project bid.
Well, I don't know if this is the right time, but, he gave us until tomorrow or Friday.
Well, it's also in the bid
I
that
do
we weren't gonna
not-
make a decision until the 17th, so.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
Option 3 would be rebid part of the project or all of it. The work plans that were approved as part of the permit that George prepared were in the packet. The area in front of Riviera Park was listed as either hydraulic or mechanical. So you had that on one drawing that they could do it mechanically, you had it on one that they could do it hydraulic. So that's an option there if we wanted to target the park above the channel right now, you know, in terms of priority. And then option 4, you know, if we're really serious about something, explore the cost of acquiring the equipment ourselves and doing it in-house continually.
Is it viable for us to let him know our problems with,
Sure.
as a public?
Yeah,
I mean,
Just a postcard.
he needs to have a wake-up call on some of his.
yeah. I talked with the city of Clare this morning, Savin did, they did some of their work in-house, they have a barge with a backhoe on it. And then Savin did the bulk of Lake Shamrock mechanically or hydraulically. And, there wasn't any type of required non-refundable deposit, they had structured theirs, so. You know, basically at each phase of the project, when you start that phase, they would give you half of that cost for that phase. Or do, you know, bi-weekly pay draws for a longer phase, and then, you know, at the end,
He sort of needs to understand, if he works with us, we'll work with
Yeah,
him, but he's gotta kind of.
the hangup is the non-refundable phrase.
Yeah.
That's where our legal hangup lies, is that clause right there.
Well, if legal has a problem with that, I think the only real reason or only real way I see to leave that clause in there is to have him supply us 100% payment for its labor.
That's what I was gonna ask, does a 100% performance bond?
Yeah,
alleviate
I
that?
supply those all the time
Yeah.
in projects. It's-
Yeah.
Gives whatever municipality or university I'm working for
Mhm.
confidence that they're gonna get.
Yeah.
What they're paying for.
The sequencing though is where that, does he give us the bond first, or we got him to check first? We got a bond first, in my opinion, so.
You can get a bond in an hour and make a phone call to your insurance people, and as long as your financials check out.
Yeah.
You get the bond. If they don't check out, you don't get the bond. If they don't, then you damn sure don't want to pay them the money.
You are correct.
What was his deadline? Tomorrow?
March 15th.
March 15th.
If that's not, wasn't an RFP.
Yeah, we're not buying that.
We're not bound to it, we're not bound to it anyway. So I think if you,
Like, I don't think the overall bid price is unfair. I think that's a competitive bid.
it's not that much higher than it was 2 years ago.
He gave us an estimate 2 years ago of 345, something like that.
342, yeah.
Something 342.5 in that range. So, you know, 12% increase over 2 years in the last 2-3 years, that's not unreasonable.
That's not even the cost of
Yeah,
inflation.
I mean, that's very doable.
In saying all of that, I would have been a lot more comfortable with 1 or 2 more bids.
And the other
Before somebody did it.
The other thing I pointed out in my email and comments to you guys is, if you remember from when he came to talk to you about, hey, let me just do all of it. It sounded like at that time they were gonna try and weight the piping on the lake bottom so it wouldn't disrupt boating throughout the lake. And it's clearly put in that they're gonna float with barrels that piping up the river, and it's
Yeah.
going to close off access to people during that process. And if you, 12,000 cubic yards at 50 yards an hour, you're talking probably 4 to 6 weeks of time that's gonna take to do the project.
Can they keep it to one side?
I'm sure they can snake it around.
How many residences are affected upstream?
Well, depends on the route.
If it stays on the east side. To
So if they snake it up this side of the river, like
that
this side of the
on the
island,
east side.
you've closed off this right here. So,
The boat gets in there right now?
no, probably not.
No. Well, you can, but you gotta go really fast.
We're not really, yeah, okay.
You know, I think the issue becomes when you get up here to Shores, because you can, I know people can get down through here. They just have to go on the other
With a
side.
kayak or canoe.
Randy and Luann have a pontoon, don't they? It's not-
It's about three,
Yeah.
there's a couple people up there.
Quite a
Yeah.
few.
three.
I've
Yeah,
been actually talking to them. I have
So we
a
wanna.
plan for that already.
run it this
Where-
way.
I can,
That's so sharp.
as inconvenient as it is, we can move them over to. Since we dredged Birch, I do have options where I can plug boats in over there. I can probably put 5 or 6 boats in there pretty easy. To both sides of the new, launch.
So if they're agreeable to that, I don't think I wouldn't
Well,
make
I've
those,
already
I wouldn't
talked
make
to-
those permanent spots.
No, they're not permanent. It's temporary. It's the inconvenience of having to dredge the river.
Yeah,
And I
Yeah,
got
so it
another,
will be for that 6 or 8 weeks when this activity's going on, and then they can move back home.
and I got another one that volunteered their spot if we need it for a month or two.
And then I have the people that are on the inside of the island, east side of the island, they've already taken their docks out. They're ready to go.
they don't use them or just because they know this is coming.
They know it's coming.
Gotcha.
And I've got one left, and I've actually got an email from her. And I told her, well, she wanted to know when she needed to get it out, because everybody else is taking them out. And I said, I don't know, meeting tomorrow night, I'll touch base with you, so.
Can I make a
That's all come together now. And they understand this is the inconvenience of dredging the river. It has to be done, and those people that are trapped in the area of work is why.
And it's gonna hurt them for now, but in long term, it's gonna make their
It's
life.
gonna be really nice.
And this isn't gonna be the first people we're gonna trap or affect. You know, every
If you
unit
do
that
it
we
you do
do,
it by dredge, yeah.
yeah, if we do it by dredge in the summertime,
If we do it hydraulically, yes.
Yeah.
Mechanical is no big deal. We're gonna draw that, so.
correct.
So. In my eyes, I don't have an option, I don't have a problem with option 1 if we get the bond corrected. In my next personal feeling would be option 2. But I'm open to. You know, if everybody's suggesting it's on the board of what they're thinking. I just don't wanna kick the can down the road, rebid it. and
I
start again.
agree with that, totally. I think we need to do something now.
Result when you rebid it.
And the price could be higher.
If I had to rebid something,
It's going up.
absolutely.
So that's why I'm,
Why don't we make a list of our requirements and then make sure they get submitted to him directly? You know, if we need that 100% performance bond,
I guess number 1, number 2 at that point are almost the same because you're asking for the bond.
Right.
The bond is gonna cost them something, but it could be $3,000 to $5,000 depending on this project. I don't think that's a lot to give up to get a contract that size.
Well, when I read through this, Norm, I was thinking that,
6 months.
yes.
I mean, I don't like to fight them either, but it's part of doing business.
I mean, that's kind of a red flag, I think, like from a financial standpoint, that if you need that much money up front,
How are your financials?
you buy the fuel for your own machines and we'll schedule quarterly payments or every 2 weeks or
So I
something.
think that's why I say option 1 is you give us the full bond. Option 2 is we have to structure a payment schedule. That makes sense. You give us something, we pay you something. Give us something, we pay you something. That's just a project problem.
And then that'll push our payment structure down the road where we need it to.
yes,
Hopefully, yeah.
Because we're not seeing any money till really September.
We'll just start
It
right.
starts in July, but
Can't you put the money through some form of like escrow account where it's held by like a middle person to?
They're gonna charge something too on top of it.
If he doesn't go to plan B, then we're kind of stuck with option 3.
To me, as a contractor, I would go along with the bond. I mean, it's, again, the job is mine to lose.
Yep.
Supply the bond, and that's go to work.
So the bond would reimburse us if he just folds up shop and
Yes.
gives their money.
We get a check from their insurance company, we hire somebody else, or we just put it back.
or something happens to them.
Right,
Yeah.
he goes bankrupt, their machines all blow up, they can't do it, whatever, man, just.
I think as long as they rephrase that so it's not non-refundable.
Yeah,
Cause I can see an insurance company taking issue with us
Yeah.
$100,000 non-refundable, trying to recover that through the insurance company, saying, no, you knew it was non-refundable.
Yeah,
That phrase literally is the hang.
I hate lawyers.
What about if we cut that initial payment in half, 50,000 instead of
You're
100?
still taking a chance of losing $50,000 of public money.
Yeah, don't like the non-refundable.
And then I think that would still require a percent or 100% performance bond.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right, we still do the performance bond, but 50,000 refundable with payments starting in July.
why can't we call it like $50,000 contractual obligations or something like that?
Yeah.
Get away from
Okay.
refundable and non-refundable.
Right, tailor it to more to what we're
Because
needing.
really, as soon as we sign the contract, we're both parties to it and we're both responsible at that point in time.
And if you look at their bid, you know, they broke down the project sequencing.
Actually.
They're not gonna-
Page nine.
Numbers don't add up, which is to Brent's point.
It's less than 50%.
You got setup and mobilization at 35,000. You got the holding cell construction at 49.5. Right there, you're at 84.5 for those first two things before you're taking any sediment out.
If those first two things are gonna take in a couple of weeks.
Oh, easy, yeah, because he's gonna, my guess, he's gonna have to contract that out, the holding cell construction.
I don't know yet, I don't know if he got his own backhoes or not.
He built his own.
Does he?
He built that one for Claire. Yes, he did.
But still, you gotta pay somebody to set that seat, get that equipment down there, I know there's upfront cost to getting a job going, but if he gets that completed in 2 weeks, he's only outlaying that money for 2 weeks, that's not.
But the,
I mean, how do you get paid right away as soon as you do something? No, we're not 30. That's, I'm not, you
After we
know,
deliver, no one's up front.
I'm a bank, I'm not a contractor, I'm a bank.
but the bond won't hamstring you from doing that anyway.
So I think, I really think that's the direction we need to move in.
So what are the things we have to?
So for option one, I would suggest we get the 100% payment. And if he wants to do
100% bond.
bond, yeah, payment, performance and payment bond, if you wanna do something for option two as far as a structured draw plan. I'm not opposed to some kind of mobilization upfront. But I don't like, it's not the word, like you said, the word, you don't, we percent non-refundable has to go away. So, you know, all that has to go away either route. Yeah, I mean, we're entering a contract together, there's gotta be some trust on both parts. So he trusts us to pay it, we trust him to get it done, and that's why I say it's not uncommon for there to be some kind of contract, you said contract fees, mobilization fees that can be within reason. And then he wants to bill monthly from then forward, I really don't care. Yeah, you work 30 days, you submit a check, everybody gets a check.
Right, I have no problem paying that's either.
You know, that way
Even
you
if it goes every 2 weeks, you know, who cares?
Yeah.
he gets,
Percentage.
he outlays what he outlays, we pay our portion.
The only thing that would do is affect our time frame. We'd have to wait till September.
Right.
We
No,
can't write a check
he's not
for it.
gonna be done in July.
Well, it
And
depends on what he does,
does.
because he says May 15th to October.
Right.
15th. He's gonna do it sometime, right?
I don't see getting started in May, you got a month to get your,
I think that's why we need to talk to him to make sure he
everything set
understands
up
where
and
our
started,
money
you're not
is.
gonna get
Yeah.
started back May.
He can start May 15th as he wants.
Right. If you get, that's why the non-refundable has to go away. We're not gonna give him by March 15th, $100,000 non-refundable check, and he's not gonna start work until September.
Well, he'll start along
6
before
months.
that,
So that's 6 months of interest.
I think he starts, he starts working in May personally, but I don't, I guess I don't, right, that he is.
Well, see, that's the part, I understand it has to be somewhat nebulous because of weather and everything, but that's a huge time frame.
So I mean, I think it's prudent to have a post bid meeting with him.
Yep.
Yep.
And hash it out, that way.
Yep.
He can state what his concerns are, we can state what our concerns are.
From an auditing standpoint, our fiscal year is July 1. So this is its own fund. It cannot be in a deficit status on June 30th. we can be in a deficit status the first week of July, as long as we're not in a deficit status June 30th of 2026. So if they need more than the 147,000 we're gonna have on hand before June 30th, that is a problem.
That's what I mean.
But not
That's the
in
conversation.
position to loan us the money either, is it?
It's still not gonna solve the deficit problem, because our auditors are gonna look at that and say that's still a deficit, because that fund has that obligation that exceeds what your available funds and revenue are.
Right.
So,
So the March 15th thing is out the window.
is it though? I mean, if you're talking how long to get everything set up
No,
to do the holding cell.
he wanted an answer by March 15th.
Oh, March, I'm talking about May 15th.
No, no, March 15th is out the window.
Yeah, we can't, there's nothing we can do about that.
That's his stipulation, anyway, not ours.
Yeah.
Ours was
We need
17.
we need to have another meeting with him in front of us. We can iron out some of these rough spots,
Or, I mean, a lot of it can be done, a lot of it can be done on the phone or by
Yeah,
email, just.
but we can't make decisions until we get some answers.
I got a problem with the way he wants paid. 100,000 up front, in my opinion, is a negative. I've never had a contract where it's worked with one contract where anybody got anything until they did something. They got mobilization, they get like 50% of the mobilization when they move in. And they get the other 50 when they move out. And, you know, when you do the work,
So to your
you give them just as much you get, and they had to draw every 30 days.
your contract, Tim, I mean, he has kind of his little schedule of values. Do you ever do a schedule of values and pay off of like an AA?
We have not typically, you know, when we built this building, we had, I think, 4 invoices throughout start to finish, and, you know, and it was a 4-month project, you know, so we did monthly. You know, I'm not opposed in any way to doing frequent pay draws on, you know.
I just
invoices.
think you need a schedule of values of
Yeah.
it, so you have it broke down to
Yeah.
where, I mean, I get it, he's gonna try to front load his payments to make sure he's got funds to work with, but that doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, I
I'm
can,
not-
I
don't
can,
do the same thing, but, I mean, you have, if you spell out, this is what my costs are. Estimated fuel monthly, or, you know,
Mhm.
per cubic yard, I'm gonna spend this much money.
Yeah.
So he gets 20 cubic yards today, to 300 tomorrow, whatever it is. You can't really track that, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's at least gives you something to know that every 30 days, every 2 weeks, whatever it is, you're gonna have to write roughly this amount of money, so you
Yeah.
can figure out, okay, we're not gonna go into our deficit, we're gonna come down
Yeah.
the wire. And then starting mid-July, you get your next check when everything's
Yeah.
the way it needs to be. So I think maybe that's the route. We can respond back with those kind of, not demands, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
questions.
well, he's got a lot of prep work, right?
Yeah.
So he's gotta build the,
Yeah, he's like, he won't have any,
bag.
he won't be pumping anything for months.
Right, so
He's got.
that's why I don't
mobilization
understand the numbers.
He's got mobilization and set up 35,000, the holding cell is budgeted 49.5. So, yeah, when he gets that done, you pay it.
That's why I said, that's kind of a schedule down.
He's got a little bit of schedule, and then he's
But
got.
if we pretend we never saw that,
This,
Who pretends that?
us,
Which you did.
but we did, but was that required in his contract to even show us that? Was it required in ours to even show us that?
That's what I said, you had to have that conversation.
Right.
He didn't.
And so we can pretend like those numbers aren't even meaningful, they don't mean anything because they weren't required. He offered them up as just something, yeah,
But-
tell them that.
But he also,
And now we're using them against them.
well, we also
Bottom line
offered
is
one
we
to
need
check.
to get him in front of us
Yeah,
and say, let's
$100
tweak
grand
this.
Yes, he does.
So he mobilizes all his equipment, and then he doesn't do anything for 6 weeks.
And so if he said, let's run through this, if we say no 100 grand, he says, hasta la vista.
But he does.
Then we start over.
Well, we also need timeframes, like you said, you can stage his equipment and leave Dodge for 6 weeks.
Mhm.
That's not acceptable either.
Well, he's got a time frame in here, John. And then if you don't like that time frame, then that's when you have to say, no, you have to do it between these dates.
Yep.
In which we're not doing, we're giving them the latitude in order to do that.
And we probably should to some degree.
We absolutely should, because as soon as we start mandating things, it's not gonna happen how we say, it's construction.
Right?
Weather
Been
related.
there, done that.
I just, he's asking for things, we have a right to ask for things back.
Sure, absolutely. But on the other hand too, I'm kind of on his side where he's the businessman here. He's calling how he wants to do it. And he also needs to fit how we want to do it at the same time. And so let's say we reject how he wants to do it. He has every right to walk away. We have no signed contract, no nothing.
Well, the thing I do side with him on is if I'm gonna take 80 grand out of my pocket and put it on the job. It's out of my pocket. I'd rather it's your job. I'd like to see it out of yours.
I do it every day, John.
It's a cost,
Me too.
that's a cost of doing business, yeah,
Me too.
you don't front money, no risk, no reward.
That's right. Even when I go to a bank for a homeowner and we do a bank, I front load the heck out of my stuff to make sure I can get money today.
Yep.
But then I'm scrambling at the backside trying to prove that I've done these jobs to make sure that I get the next check.
Yep.
So that's a problem with front loading, but we don't have those requirements in this. And so basically what it is he's telling us what a total is. We have to decide if we want it. I don't think we should be running his outfit and his operation. Yes. And I guess that brings me to option 4, purchasing equipment. I think we're crazy if we want to do that ourselves.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say right now, whoever makes the decision to do it and wants to do it, they're in charge of getting the person to run it and hiring guys. Because you'll never find one.
Nope.
That's such a specialty device. Those people that run those devices grow up on them. That's every dredger I know, their family runs it. And so you don't just go hire a guy to run a dredger. It just doesn't happen that way. Maybe if you go to New York City or Los Angeles, maybe, but you're not gonna hire a
It's not
$35 an hour guy, that's for sure.
It's not a lawnmower. You can't go buy one and run it.
No, because the dredger operator needs to be a diesel mechanic, a millwright, plumber, a hydraulic guy. He needs to be like about 5 different guys.
And an engineer.
And an engineer.
So what we can stomach, if we can stomach, get rid of the non-refundable wording, so it'd just be $100,000 deposit with a signed contract and 100% performance bond.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that.
We can write that down. And then what was the option 2 that we were talking about? These are the only ways that we can legally accept your offer, 7. If they say pound sand, they do pound sand, and then what are we gonna do? We have to legally, this is taxpayer money, we can tell them, let's be transparent about when we're gonna get our cash and all this stuff, like, we're not trying to rip you off by any means. We wanna have a good relationship with you for future projects too, but this is all we can legally do, and if he rejects it, what can we do?
And in all honesty, it's not our first rodeo with this guy. He should know where we're at also,
Yeah,
We have worked with them before.
By now, we've worked with him before and he knows that.
$100,000 deposit, if they did a performance bond. 100%, can we stomach that? Like, does everyone, I know that's not ideal, but.
Yeah, but you're gonna get,
It all
you're
comes
gonna
down
get
to
your
when
money
you-
back.
If it goes
If it goes awry.
That's fine.
He's been spraying the lake for years.
Mhm.
You don't get any money until he sprays the lake. We don't pay him in advance.
Well,
Yeah,
I guess that would be a point to give them. Yes, it's not a $350,000 lake spray,
Oh,
but
it's
still,
$80,000 a
hey,
year.
we do have a relationship.
you guys have been short paying for years.
So
I was getting it all back at once.
Very bad.
if I see, I'm fine with the way Brent's described option 1, that totally makes sense to me, it protects the public's money. It takes us down to where,
To $46,000.
right, but
And we're
when would his next draw be, because he has.
Well, that's what we have to know that.
Yes.
And that's what we have to set up.
We can
That's
spell in on
because
this
we can't
as
get
we
the
get
money.
to our meetings.
Because then we'll have to say, if you can start whenever you want, but check number 2 is going to be
After July.
August 1st.
Yeah.
Or August 15th, or whatever we feel comfortable saying date wise that we think we're gonna have that money.
Did the permit, George, say anything about when the dredging hydraulically had to be done?
Mm-hmm.
Which was what date?
Between I believe March 15th and October 15th.
So
So he has to
I got it
right
right here.
15.
You got it? Okay.
the permit specifically says that, no work or dredging in the water may occur between October 15th and the following May 15th.
May
So
15th.
that's gonna push him to do what he has to do.
So it's between May
I
fifteenth
got
and
a
October
question.
15th.
And then the upper segment, we require mechanical.
If you don't get your
And he did add, I did talk to him about that,
You should.
and,
Matt should.
he asked how come, and I said, because I don't know what's there.
After 15 to be.
I said, I imagine there's logs in there that
We should
stop that up.
I think September 15th.
Whatever, you're gonna put
Texas
your,
is
you're gonna
80%.
try to use it hydraulically, you're gonna hit
We'll have
that.
all of our.
And it could tear up your equipment too. And so that's why I felt it was best to.
He's talking about.
I
Can't
believe it's all due by then.
Tim, what's your conversation you guys just had?
So, there are two aspects of this project that the upper has to be done mechanically. Which was
That's it, you had it.
right there.
This, we don't know, there's a natural bridge right through here. Clogged up this side, so there's no flow. This is all cattails now, it's become very shallow and gravel, there's logs in there and everything else, and guy called me and wanted to know why. That had to be done mechanically, and this is play it park, so we can get right next to it. It's because I don't know what's there. I don't know how many logs are there, and I don't think he would want to tear up his equipment, his cutter head. And so that's why I think doing that mechanically and hauling it out to the spoils area on the other side is the smartest way to do that, and you do that last.
And that was part of his bid.
That was in his
In
bid.
his bid.
And that part, we can reach from the park with a long haul.
We can do it along.
Everyone, yeah.
Right.
You can't finish.
Perfect.
December
Perfect
or
setup for it.
maybe.
Because on that sediment that's stacked up in there, you can walk out on top of it from the land to about right here. And if you stomp on it, you'll go through it. But it's hard surface.
The mechanical portion has to be done during the drawdown, is that what the permit says?
No,
It doesn't,
it can be done during the drawdown.
okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be.
The hydraulic has to stop at April or
Right.
October
But if
15th.
you wanted to dig in the water first, you could.
You can do that first.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, because we won't be in drawdown.
Yeah, but you just said it doesn't have to do it up.
If,
Maybe I'm
all right, the hydraulic portion, according to the permit, can't be done during the winter months.
Right.
May 15th, October 15th. So if that's gonna be mechanical on the north end, that can be done at the finish of the project. Because we shouldn't start on the north end, we should start in the south end and work up to that. Because that's our dam.
Is, page 7, his map shows he's going all the way up to where we said heavy mechanical to it.
If he wants to hydraulic dredge it, I don't care.
Gotta have it.
Well, I just don't want him
Part
to
of the deal.
tear his equipment up and then have downtime for us.
That'll be the last piece he does though.
True. But I want him to get it done too.
That'd be a call for him to make, really.
He's got multiple dredges, he got them listed there.
That's right.
Bring it
He's
on.
got a big list.
Everybody tears up.
I was enjoying his list.
Yeah, there's $100,000 to fix it.
I think the issue there that the committee at least needs to think through is that the work plans submitted for the permit do not show that being done with hydraulic dredging. The work plans, both colored maps show that as mechanical, and there's a stipulation in the permit about
Mechanical portion.
about wetlands in here, and that area's. Where's it at?
But we've gotten approval for that red zone too, haven't we?
Yeah, it's all part of it.
Okay. Call it whatever you want, we still got their blessing to do it.
Where is it?
I didn't think it said anything about that part.
Didn't it? Replacing the troops.
All dredge, you guys say spoils or whatever, dredge. Like upland, non-work repairs and stabilization. Hey, back up a second.
I'm kind of with Todd, I don't care how it goes, as long as he does it.
Down to number 8.
Well, depends on what that permit says. I know.
Yeah. Obviously. It's the mist, it's always the red zone also.
Yeah, but if there's any, like, when you're stipulation or wetland, it was classes, it's somebody over there.
It was,
It makes sense. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing.
it was language that we had put in there.
The bone or the Indians make it involved.
Yeah.
Oh, it was in my, where I had to write it out, in that text box.
Building permits and.
Right there.
That's everything now.
There you go.
Okay, what does that say?
That's what I wrote in.
The upper segment of the project must be completed via mechanical dredging unless otherwise approved by Eagle. Such work is to be after the start of the annual drawdown, annual October 15th. Done after the main channel has been hydraulically dredged. Removal of spoils at the southernmost point and move north up the river channel.
So I
There's
wonder,
a stipulation.
I wonder
Directly
if
tell
you,
them.
if you just call Eagle and say, we're moving along, the dredge is working fine. We'd like to just do the last,
That's not muddy the waters.
well, we can get you to get there. If he says no, you just back up till draw down
And sometimes mistakes are made as to where boundaries are too, all the time.
You don't need those people up there saying you can't go any further.
you know, they've already said you could, they already said you could dredge it. They just wanted to know, they wanted you to do a different way. So if he has to get up.
That's it, that's it.
Go for a minute to get back. Look, it's on his permit, it's included in his cubic yards, so. As far as I'm concerned, it's part of the contract.
Yep. And does Salmon have a long reach?
But I know he works with Eagle all the time, so he might be able to make that phone call.
There you go.
Leave it up to him.
Well, he typically works with Lansing though, for his, herbicide contract.
He's doing dredging. He did,
I know
he
he's
did,
doing
he did
dredging
the permits
too.
for Clary. He must have went through the same operation you did.
And, he said he gives a discount if we did the permit. We did that, so
Yeah,
50% off on that 100,000, right?
Contract read as written, or the permit read as read. Said.
and I do think before you do anything involving a check, you probably ought to get him and Lucky in the same room or on the same phone call.
Well, yeah, we don't even know if he can put this holding plan where he wants
I
it.
mean, Lucky was totally receptive as long as he could move it to this spot because he's got the future gravel operation on his property and I think his long-term plan is once the gravel's done, they can just push that into the,
Maybe the whole.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see a problem with what Lucky was asking. I don't think Savage gonna have a problem with
No, I
that.
don't think so either.
And reading New Savin stuff, it says that they're covering it back up. It pretty much stated all the stuff that Lucky was asking for.
You don't have a lease or anything with Lucky?
We got a signed, we have a signed letter from him that we can do it.
That'd be a contract between him and Savin, though, it's just been pretty
It
much.
was an agreement with us,
Yeah.
just to get it going.
Yeah.
And that he signed off on, and then it's between those two.
Yep.
So did you summarize what we were going to say, the changes would be that Brett was talking about?
The payment for 100% performance and payment
Yeah.
amount, remove the verbiage about a non-refundable guarantee. Was to the reference.
And go with 100% bond.
That was the one avenue,
Option one.
we were talking about stomach team, and then the other one you guys were talking about, like a payment structure. I don't even know if you wanna offer that.
I think you
You see,
see,
we gotta do it hand in hand. Because we can do the 100 grand now, but we can't make another payment.
Right.
Here till August, until August 15th or so. So that, I think it all has to be one event,
Jim,
really.
I got a question for you. Historically, when the taxes come in, looking back in time, you don't have a crystal ball, I know. Does it come in on the last day of the tax?
I think Tim has told us 80% on
Incrementally, or what's it?
I think he told us 80% on September 15th
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, you guys got this multiple times in the last year.
It's on here.
Typically, you're gonna see by August first, no, at least September first, you're at 80% at least.
And so when we get that total coupled with what we have right now, that's about the contract total, isn't it? Roughly.
I think it's gonna scare the heck out of it.
Yeah, there's not gonna be much left.
I'm sure it's in the past packet.
You know, that's how we budgeted it. We had money left over from Birch to try to put toward the river.
Mhm.
That's exactly what we did.
Then we won't be able to do anything next year until,
We get money again, so, right,
so you couldn't, feasibly right now, you couldn't do it.
start that our stuff
Couldn't do
again.
another hydraulic
August.
next summer.
The twist on this one is doing it in the summer.
Yeah.
Compared to doing the
They
drawdown.
moved it, just
Because the
moved the
drawdown is always gonna be mechanical. Which is after we've received the income.
Yeah, next fall in September, we'll have 80% of whatever that is, and we can go that far if we have the permits up and running. Or we can get a permit for the whole south end and bid it out incrementally.
You get a much better price if it's done at once. Per cubic yard.
And these permits are good for how long?
We charge 5 years.
I'm sorry,
5-year permit?
permit, yeah,
Save up
permits
money.
are 5, testing is 10.
There you go.
But we could bid it out all at once, but do it incrementally and so we can pay it that way.
So. I think what I'm hearing from everybody is everybody's in favor of doing option one
But
with the bond we've talked about.
Yep.
Okay, so. Do we wanna take,
What,
I think we need to have a face-to-face with 7 in the room too.
well, yeah, you're gonna have to, right? Since you guys,
right,
you
you
guys
just put
put
this
that,
list together.
you guys make your next step.
Yeah, because
Yeah, no, I
I'm
guess,
worried about not having enough money. So he starts that.
That's why we have
In
to have,
June.
you sit down with Guy, but I think if you have to have. What you're going to talk to the guy about. Set today, so if we wanna talk about the option one with the bond and doing, you know, your $100,000 down to get started. And then during that meeting, you're gonna say, we've only got another $50,000. Until August,
Well, actually, it's later.
Yeah,
well, what I mean.
And we're not
that's
gonna-
what
Right, I mean, and he has to know that.
and we're not gonna talk to one-on-one, we're gonna
Change
talk to them as a
I'm saying.
unit.
Right, you might say. Yeah, me too.
We do accounting at the end of the month. End of July, we're at historically 19% capture. End of August at 53%, end of September, 91.
So I think, Tim, for, if we go and have a post bid with Guy, I think we should have. What your projection will be for July, August and September.
Mhm.
So you can potentially show him, we'll have 47K left. Plus this 19%, and then next month this much more. Next month this much more, so you can give him a real expectation of what he's gonna be able to build for. Going forward.
What's our total we're gonna end up with from this fall stack?
I don't know, I don't have the equalization numbers for taxable, but
I mean,
we had 324 last year, I think.
Never see him until July or August.
Well, normal,
so we're gonna have enough this fall's taxes and what we say, do the job without having us or him to worry about it, right?
He's only gonna do this.
I think it covered everything we wanna do, and then we made like 20,000 left.
If you,
Live with that, as long as we get it covered what we're doing.
we'll have more than that left.
you know, if you just go back and look at the ledger that's in the packet, you can see what we collected. So July, we had 55 grand. August, we had another 120 come in. September, we had another 118 come in. And then you trickle down after that, cause September 15th is the due date, so.
So hey, you can put those numbers together, and then we have a
Yeah.
conversation with the guy.
Next question is, when do we wanna have that meeting with him in front of us? We need to talk to him to find out when he's available.
I don't think you need a meeting with the whole committee, you
No,
know, maybe a couple people, you know.
Or have Tim and George handle it, Tim and George know what we wanna do, they've been dealing with them right directly.
I mean, as long as we give Tim direction of what we're if Tim says this is the money we're gonna collect, the guy says I can work with that, and I'll get the bond, I'm okay. Saying, make it,
Make it right and sign it and be over with, it. But we still may have to join up to do that.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least they have to
They
have,
can hash it out.
they have to have the authorization to do it, so. And if, I'll make a motion that that's the direction we go. Anybody else? All in favor? Okay. So. Hopefully it works when you get this thing going. And we have to do.
Tim, you and I are in charge of it.
Great.
We got nothing to do anyway, George.
You got yours all out, so you're done for the year, aren't you?
So, yeah.
It's just the beginning.
I don't know, do you guys have anything else you want to discuss from the committee?
Many, I do.
Sure, she does.
Norm,
Yes, sir.
they had a question earlier and they got yes.
Okay.
Robin Spring, 1031 Villado. Got thinking while we're sitting here, when you guys did Birch Park and you had to restructure the boat launch.
Mhm.
Has there been any consideration to changing the boat launch that's at Riviera Park?
No one has brought that to my attention that there was something wrong with it. I mean,
It's very shallow.
Will it be taking it
It's-
out when they do all this?
Yeah.
What do you,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that thing's only, I mean, it's buried in mud.
but the debris that's on top, the mud will be gone. Or the
Yeah.
debris on top of the concrete will be gone.
I didn't know if
Should it be,
anybody,
George, at the end of it.
I don't,
Honestly, I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Well,
I've seen
you
it
have some
25
tests in
years
the
ago,
area
but-
that you went down and found some hard pan, maybe within 100 yards of it or something.
Oh,
3 or 4 feet of silt in there, maybe?
There is 3 feet just to the north, I know.
Okay, so
It should
then
be
I would
3
say
feet.
that would be gone.
should be 3
It
feet
would
deeper than what
probably-
it is now.
One, they have to do that during drawdown anyway, but two, we don't know the condition of what's there, whether, what the scope of the work is.
Yeah,
But
in
it's been-
the end, we need to make it functional.
Yeah,
Right.
And it was
Say
been
what we don't.
encapsulated in silk, so it's probably
Yeah.
in decent shape.
Yeah.
Well, you-
I'm think it's probably gonna be busted on the end.
that's
Is
what I'm
there- is
saying.
there
If
any
we run into,
historical Problems like before it was silted in getting boats off. So I mean, the depth should be right once the silt's gone. We
Yes, I
just
agree with
don't
that.
know if the ramp itself is.
Until we see it, I
Right.
guess.
I guess that-
Smaller
that's gonna Have
boats.
to be an inspection, I guess.
my mom lives right next door to it and I've watched oodles and oodles of smaller boats use it,
Okay.
but not the bigger boats. The big pontoons that come in, they choose to use Birch
So
Park.
I guess my. Recommendation or thoughts would be is to wait till we get everything off it.
Right.
See what it looks like.
But is it in the budget? Is it in the budget
I
to,
don't think it's in the budget
Do
this
any
year, but if it's,
fixing.
if we get the dirt gone. And it's cracked all the hell and it's unusable,
right?
See what
that's
we got.
something we could do maybe the next
Then
round.
move forward and see
Right.
what.
It's gonna have to just be an inspection.
Yeah, it's a very long,
It
it's
does go
very
on.
long.
It goes out there quite a ways.
Well,
Yes.
we're not gonna, if we have, I mean, it's not in the contract, that's so.
Yeah.
Because we
We put a
don't,
new ramp.
right,
Yeah, that'd be something like a couple years down the road, once it's.
and I don't know, we have something in our, like, Owen thing about
Big boats.
lake bottom restoration, could that fit in that?
Sure could.
So it could be something that like, oh, it could do,
And we.
And it
we've already
depends
got-
on how deep it ends up being.
right.
Once they dredge it, once they get all that silt and stuff
We're not
out of
allowed to
there.
dig up the hard bottom, so if it's sitting, I mean, if there's 3 feet of mud that gets back down, we can't take dirt out
No,
underneath it.
no,
Right.
like that.
But if it's 3 feet deeper than it is now, I think it'll get used more,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I think if the concrete is damaged,
That's what we
think it
have to
is.
it
look at.
could be, it could
Once
be.
it's visual.
Yeah,
Could be
get a
something
visual.
that I hope it is, aside from this committee,
okay.
just like when we put concrete at south, we had to do something a couple years ago. not a
Yeah, we had to
ramp.
repack that one and actually put a new ramp in at Birch when the millage was first voted down, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the thing that, until we find out visually what the condition is, we don't know, we can't say. And if it's messed up, sure, we'll take a look at it.
Some boats running into it.
Yeah, but
And,
nothing says- George, nothing says we couldn't do that after the drawdown, we could have it done by November.
Sure. But we
If we can take it off
this
the
is the
bid.
time to do it because we have a permit.
Okay, so your motion.
You would have to get a permit from Eagle.
My motion
Huh?
was to.
You have to get a different permit from Eagle.
Option one for the performance and
Get a
labor
different
bond.
permit from Eagle.
All right,
Moving.
I know.
100%. So. And was.
You'll be able to see it.
I agree with that.
Schedule of.
Yeah.
Besides like, waterfront owners on the river channel,
Check your
going
phone.
forward, you can't build until.
But that,
Is there gonna be any requirements from the state about impeding a waterway like with a pipe?
Oh, wow.
Just cause it's a.
I think they're gonna run it probably close enough to shore that it's not gonna impede the waterways, it's gonna impede access. You
Okay.
know, but yeah, if we're darting across, that's a good question.
I just don't know, I mean,
Yeah,
even if you wait,
Public
even if you
notification
wait
should.
the pipe, the river's not deep enough to wait it and drive over top of it anyway.
Up there.
Be deep up there in most spots. Yeah, but once you're kayakers and stuff, I mean, if they say that or two kayakers go around long times. Yeah.
They see kayakers, canoers, all the time, stuff.
Put out notices and give people the opportunity to get on this side. of
Well,
the
he's
pipe.
talking about people that put small canoes and stuff and come down the river.
That live up there. I mean, there's people on both sides of the river.
I just didn't know if the state would say anything about impeding the waterway.
Oh,
Or Seven would know something about that, if that's a decent plan, cause I mean, that would
It's
be a.
not the first time they threw a pipe in the water, so yeah, they would probably be apprised of
I
that.
gotta navigate through Ludington's harbor with buoys that aren't even marked and tubes that aren't marked at 5 o'clock in the morning, pitch black. They put a milk jug on it, they spray paint a little paint on it. Yeah, but they put that there, not us. State put it there.
And they carry the liability insurance anyway.
Know several.
And then residential saving should be carrying liability insurance for their pipe also,
yeah.
in case something happens.
Okay, so that takes us to the next meeting, but we really don't know what that meeting date would be until we have a posted with.
Well, Matt, Sav's gonna wanna know.
Right, right.
They put the artificial May 5th, March
Yeah.
15th. So
If
they'll,
you wanted to try to meet later in March, I thought would be
they might even be watching us right now.
possible. Yeah.
Hope so.
The only thing that March
15th
15th does is we get to tell them thanks for no thanks. Guys, ready?
Calendar here. So. It's, Wednesday night, whether you meet Thursday or Friday, I don't know whether it gives you next week, and next week is. Giving everybody's spring break time, I'll be gone. Getting the 19th, maybe you guys want to convene,
What month?
I'm gone from 19th to the 28th.
Next week, March is talking next week.
Yeah, boys get out of school early, and they don't have school on Friday anyway, and you're leaving on Wednesday.
It's break time. Gets in the way. Give them a break.
I'm going Tuesday, Wednesday next week.
Okay,
So it looks like it's Monday.
Well, Monday we have council.
I won't be here Monday, but.
We're out of luck there.
Stuff you-
Just give me a number and I'll be here.
I'm sure you can come during the daytime,
Yeah, like I'm not going away for spring break, so if a guy wants to come down during
but I think
that.
a lot of it can be done by phone, by email,
Yeah.
you can present the package and.
Yeah.
Then we can meet and say, hey,
Okay, pick a date.
so Tim,
I don't
Tim
know.
and George, for the next meeting with Guy.
We'll set something up with Guy and go from there.
Tim, do you want
Well, Guy
somebody
may-
from the committee within that meeting with Guy?
Sure. Doesn't
I
matter.
mean, I'm available if you want. I mean,
Guy could be available this weekend. We don't know.
Yeah,
We have to
You want
get this down into a little. more
yeah,
formal.
we reach out tomorrow morning. I'll get something together and run it by you, and then we can send it out to him, late tomorrow morning. And see what he says from that point.
Okay.
Well, we'll know if it's a go or no go right up front.
Yeah.
Really.
If it's a no-go, you're not in a hurry for the next meeting.
Exactly, yeah.
Pretty good. So. You wanna set the next meeting after you talk to Guy? That makes sense?
I mean, we wanna just tentatively say like May 2nd or April 2nd, or April's
Do
next.
you need the committee to come back in? You don't, do you get to sign the contract?
No,
If he agrees with the terms?
no.
So that he probably won't be doing it. If he does agree to the terms, he won't be starting until May anyway.
Yeah.
Want to meet before he starts, like late April, or do you wanna wait till it starts?
If we're gonna spend money, the committee probably should be the one to approve that.
Yeah, we're gonna this, okay, we're gonna accept it, and then this.
Yeah.
Well, we need an initial contact with him.
Exactly.
So they can be on the same page.
That I don't think the committee needs to meet for. I think the committee needs to meet once we hammer out the agreement.
I guess that depends on when he wants to
Yeah, exactly.
finalize it.
Yeah.
So it'll be sometime during the first or second week in April, so.
That'd be my hope, yeah.
Not on Tuesday, the eighth,
Hopefully.
Duck Day.
Oh,
Bill will be busy at it, John's gonna be busy there, and what's this late afternoon?
Yeah, that stirs the natives up enough.
So I guess, Tim, let me know what works
Alright.
with your schedule. and
Yeah.
We can give us 2 or 3 days to pick from the committee standpoint. You just need a quorum, right? So you just need 4, 5 or 6 of us.
Yeah, there's 9 on committee, 5.
Any other questions from anybody? Did you hear the public?
Well, what about, and it has something running through our board, of course, but we have those money sitting out in the CDs.
Yep.
If necessary, we could pull those and
That's
apply
a
it.
question, that's a question for Tim.
Yeah, that we could provide that money to fill a gap up front as long as it came back.
We can't borrow from you legally.
We can't,
No, as a public entity, our legal debt options are pretty limited. So we can borrow from ourselves, we can borrow from a bond essentially, or we can do an Act 99 installment purchase. We can't like do a line of credit or anything like that, so.
We can't really bury money either, because like you said, we may need a dock up or that landing in the Riviera may be complete.
we'll be okay.
Okay, well. 6:05. Okay, well, on the hand table. All right.
That's in your head.
We're going to spring break.